So Mafia: The Old Country is fast approaching. It comes out, I think on the 8th it comes out. But in this capacity of covering the game and everything, we've been talking about the performance of it and wondering how it's going to run. Well, they finally did reveal specs. They finally did drop this. We're going to talk about the people that posted this in a second, but basically the specs, if we look at it, they have minimum, recommended, and epic. They also specify uncapped gameplay frame rate, HDR support, accessibility options, VSync, ultra-wide monitor support, remappable keyboard, aliasing and upscaling frame generation with AMD FSR and NVIDIA DLSS and Intel XESS. And in terms of overall specs, the minimum is at HD on medium, balanced for the upscaling. So they're including upscaling in all of the performance options. So in order to hit some frame rate, I'm assuming probably 30 with this, they're saying medium, and you need to be rolling with like a 2070 or a 5700 XT or something. Their recommended is to play it with quality upscaling at 1440p, so rendering internally at like 1080p or whatever that would translate to. And they recommend a 3080 Ti or a 6950 XT and 32 gigs of RAM, and then a pretty solid CPU as well. And on the Epic preset, also DLSS required, they are including this. They're showing it rendering at 4K, quote unquote, Epic preset at 2880 by 1620, 75%, which I don't know if they're saying it's exported out at 4K or they want you to set the display at that. I think they mean they want you to set the display at 4K and then it upscales to 4K rendering at this. And it's weird that they don't phrase it the same across the board, but whatever. They recommend 12 gigs of RAM for this one, 4070 Ti to hit that rate, and 32 gigs of RAM as well. Now, these PC specs, they're heavy, and my stance has been that I personally really don't like it when the spec sheet is given and it is balanced. The game is balanced using upscalers. My point of view, maybe I'm just a boomer, my point of view is that the game should be balanced and built and optimized, assuming no upscalers, and upscalers are used to enhance performance. When we're using upscalers to meet the minimum, I feel like we're not super well optimized. It's why I was so excited when they announced that KCD2, all of the spec sheet, when they dropped this for KCD2, they actually came out. I replied to the tweet and I was like, is this with or without upscalers? Because it's not clear. And they came out and said, nope, upscalers are for improving performance. We are not including that in this. But as you can see here, they have included it across the board. They will not show you the performance trying to render it natively, which I just personally am frustrated by. It doesn't mean the game is bad. Doesn't mean it won't be playable, but again, as a standard in the industry, I would like the standard to be it's optimized without upscalers, and upscalers just enhance performance. They are not a crutch to hit the minimum. But what's the other component of this? Because the specs are an aspect of this. You can see community notes have been proposed on this, and it's because Mafia Game Videos, which is a Twitter channel, and they also have a YouTube channel that's covered Mafia specifically, they have done a lot of good coverage so far. Like some of the stuff is just like they'll download IGN's video and re-upload it. And I'm like, I don't think that's okay. But in general, the coverage has been pretty solid, at least. Pulling things from all over the place to put in one centralized hub. But they posted this. Mafia: The Old Country will be 30 FPS on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S given these PC requirements. You see 1,500 likes, a bunch of comments and stuff. And a bunch of these comments were people specifically stating that they were canceling their pre-order, not getting it, canceling pre-orders, unacceptable. And they started blowing up like the developers. We're out. Problem is, it's a lie. It's wrong. Okay. So what happened is Mafia Game, the actual account for the developers, the actual studio. Let me show you Mafia Game. They were getting so many messages about this that they actually had to come out. They actually had to come out and clarify. Okay. What did they say? Today we released PC spec requirements. We've seen some questions around consoles. On PS5 and Xbox Series X, Mafia: The Old Country will have both quality and performance modes at launch, with the game running at an average of 60 FPS in performance mode. Players who want to prioritize higher resolution and visual fidelity will should select quality, while players who prefer to prioritize frame rates should select performance mode, clarifying that and answering it. But Mafia Game Videos has left this post up, and instead of deleting it because it's just wrong, has put a follow-up message underneath it saying that, screen capping it, not even linking it to it, but screen capping it, saying, oh, yep, they said that it will have performance mode. But the damage is already kind of done, okay? It's already done. And these proposed community notes include one that I wrote on the post because it is just wrong. Like before, when this was made, it was wrong. And the developers came out and said, nope, that's wrong. It will have performance mode. And the post is still up and is still being spread around and quote tweeted with people saying that they can't believe they would do this, and just literally spreading misinformation that is easily debunked, okay? But then there's another post they made. This was just so, I'm sorry, Mafia Game Videos. I'm sure you're a nice person in real life, but this was cringe as hell. I'm just going to be real. They posted this. Mafia the Old Country is confirmed to be shipping with quality and performance modes at launch on PS5 and Xbox Series. Performance mode will run at 60 FPS quality, favors higher resolution, visual fidelity, exactly what we just read. PS, I forced them to announce this. Besk replied to this, and I think put it well. I forced them to say this. You lied about their effing games, spread it around, and everyone believed. Honestly, yeah, that's kind of how I feel. You don't get to claim credit like, yeah, I did this. You're welcome. When you just like were casually spreading a bunch of misinformation and then they had to come out and correct it. It's like, come on, man. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? And it's just dumb. It's just dumb. So I was disappointed to see that posted by them, and for them to still have the post up, getting spread around and spread around like it's gospel truth, when it's just frankly not. It's just not. It's too bad. It's too bad. He's trying. Well, I think what it is, honestly, is the settings that they presented. Where did I put it? These settings are pretty heavy. They're pretty heavy. And it's one thing to speculate that I don't know how they're going to pull off 60 frames on console if this is what they have to run on PC. That's one thing that's fine to speculate. But when you are a page that is commonly mistaken as an official page, bear in mind, which is another component of this. It has the verified check mark, which a lot of people assume is official. Mafia Game Videos, so people think that it's potentially an official page. And you're making posts saying that it's gonna have, it will not run at 30 or run at 60. People will take it and run with it, and that's what we've seen. And it's so easy for misinformation to spread super, super quickly. Now, do I think Mafia the Old Country is gonna run super well? Personally, my prediction is no. I'm getting the vibe that it's going to be heavy. It's going to probably not be that crazy optimized or anything. You're not going to be running this at 200 frames a second on a 3060, But, that's a separate question than everything that's happening here. What's happening here is just somebody saying something that's wrong and then trying to claim credit like they did something fantastic, and it's just not the case. So anyway, point of clarification, it will have a performance mode. It will run at 60 frames on console if you want it to. It will run at 30 on higher quality if you want it to on console. On PC, it does look to be quite heavy. My requirement has always been, if it's going to be a heavy game, it needs to look like it. So if it's going to be tough to run and it's going to require some firepower to get cranked up, it needs to look like it. It's a problem when the game looks like crap and is heavy. But if the game is heavy and looks amazing, I'm okay with that. That's the key. That's the key.